I'm going to do a real quick recording for a subscriber that was asking me some questions about how to install a pallet fork in an NH35 movement. So I figured I would use my microscope, show him up and close exactly what he needs to do. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the automatic winding weight here, the oscillating weight. And I'm just going to take that off and get rid of that real quick. Now, one problem we have here is that with the NH35, you can't actually, unless you take the whole entire bridge off, you can't actually let the power out of the movement. So I am going to really quickly pull off the balance. I don't believe it's got a ton of wind in it. Let's try to not mar up this whole movement. This is my test and video movement, so if it does get some scratches and messed up, then that's what happens. Here is the screw that I dropped. There it is. Alright, and we're going to take off the balance here. Be very careful when you remove things. Just a nice, easy movement. Alright, so see if you can see it. Oh, I'm out of the frame. There we go. So we're going to remove this right out of here. We're going to flip it over. This is what the balance looks like on the bottom. That's the impulse jewel right there. Get you a close-up of that. Purple thing is the impulse jewel, and you can see what it looks like from the bottom. Alright, let's go back to the movement here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to remove the pallet fork. The pallet fork is right here. I'll zoom in on it a little bit. Right, there's the pallet fork, and the pallet fork is got power to it right now, so when you move it, when you bump it, it should click from side to side. See how it snaps? As soon as you give it a little push, it snaps. Give it a nice little push and it snaps. You don't have to push it all that hard. See? So that is what a pallet fork should do. Also, we're going to look real quick at the jewels, the pallet fork jewels, right here, and see, oops, moved, see where they're touching. It's actually interesting how much oil is on that pallet fork right there, because this is straight from the factory and it's gobbed up all over it, so that should give you another reason why you should clean these things off a little bit. But when I move this back and forth, right, we're looking at where the pallet fork engages into the escape wheel, and I'm looking at about 3/4 of the way up when I look at that. Alright, so I'm going to back out a little bit, make sure we're still in zoom here. Now we're going to remove the pallet fork. Now typically I use something to hold the pallet fork, or sorry, the pallet fork bridge. I use something to hold the pallet fork bridge down while I'm working on it. Alright, so there's one screw out. There, screw. Now we're going to remove the second screw while I'm going to move this all the way around so I can continue to put pressure on it while I remove the second screw. Alright, there we go. Second screw removed. Alright, let's spin this thing back around, make sure we're in the frame here. Now I'm going to use my screwdriver to lever up this right here, and I'm going to easily, gently move this out of the way. So now that's moved out of the way. Now I'm going to grab it with my tweezers and move it down. So this is a good look at what the pallet fork looks like. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this, and when I pull this out, the whole movement's going to spin down. Just like that. And I'm going to wait until it's finished spinning down, and we're going to take a 2-second look at this pallet fork. Alright, so the pallet fork has two sides. It's got a small side, and this one has a big side. Hold on. Horrible. Got to get it in focus. Right there. There's the big side, and there's the small side. When I put this back in, the small side's going to go down. The big side's going to go down. Alright, so let's go ahead and we're going to readjust. We're looking at the bottom of the pallet fork right now. I'm going to pop this over, and I'm going to place it in place. So here we go. Flipped over. I'm going to drop it the way it's supposed to go and then spin back around. Can we still see? No, of course we can't see. Let's see. There we go. Kind of perfect there. Alright, so now, hold on. I'm out of sync here. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to take this pallet fork and I'm going to drop it into the hole. Just like that. Right, and I'm going to put it in the middle. So it's in place now. Now I'm going to grab the pallet fork bridge, and this is a bridge. And we're going to drop this right, I typically just drop it right on top, nice and easy. And then I will maneuver the screw holes until I get it kind of in position. Gently. So now it's kind of in position. And then I'll jiggle it around until it drops into place. There we go. Right there. So now I believe it's in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my screw and I'm going to put it in here like this. And I'm going to screw it down, but I'm not going to screw it down tight. And I'm going to hold down this side of the bridge in order so it doesn't move while I'm trying to screw it down, or it'll pop right out of place. So basically, I'm going to screw this down until it's not tight, but not loose. Now we can screw the other side down. Right here. Screw this side down. We're still not tight yet. Nothing's tight. And now I'm going to take this, I'm going to back it out for a second, and I'm going to put a little wind in the movement because I want to make sure, not a huge wind, but a little wind. Alright, so now we're going to test whether this pallet fork is working or not. Alright, so how do we test it? I typically use my probe and I look to make sure a few things. One, I make sure that right here you can see that the staff is in the hole, it's sticking out of the jewel. So that's one way you can know that you're doing pretty good. Two, you look at here where it's engaging into the escape wheel, here and here. Okay? Now we're going to back out a little bit, and we're going to test how this works. So before, remember, put a little bit of movement on it and it snaps right across. Little bit of movement, it snaps right across. Little bit of movement, and as long as you're doing that and it's freely snapping back and forth, you're good to go. It's in the right spot. So now I'm going to go ahead and tighten down these screws. We're just going to do a little, tighten them down until they stop, and then you tighten them the width of the slot here. So I'm going to give it a little, good, tight enough there, and another boop, tight enough. Okay, so now we're going to test it again just to make sure, because this is like important. So, oh, we're good, see? All right, so now we're going to get ready to put the balance back in. Let me back out all the way here. And to put the balance back in, I know that the balance is going to go on this side over here. So, knowing that, I'm going to make sure that this pallet fork right here is at the bottom, because I'm going to stick the impulse jewel here, and as I spin it around, it's going to engage the pallet jewel and kick it that way. I'm sorry, the pallet fork. So we put it right there like that. Now, don't worry if you don't get this the first time, because it's never the easiest to put one of these little things in. But see how now right now, pallet jewel's over here. All right, let me get my pointer out. Pallet jewel's like right about there. So as I spin this in, it engages the pallet fork. So we drop it right on top of where this is. Come on. Stop wiggling. There we go. Drop it on there. Spin it around. And drop it in place. Now you can see here I did a horrible job. But even if you do that, there's still hope. And the worst possible thing is you have to pull it back out and do it again. So right now I can tell I've got to pull it back out and do it again. So let me grab this thing back out of here. See how the back's tight now? I'm going to have to get my screwdriver again. And I'm going to have to pry that up, because you don't want to force anything. There we go. So you get it off of there. We're going to pull the balance out. We're going to check that that's in the right spot. It is. And we are going to do this again. This is as far as I can back out. So, whoop, right here. Right there. So, pallet fork's in the right spot. Balance is in the right spot. And then we typically... Nope, balance is not in the right spot. Like I said, these are difficult, so don't get discouraged. Just keep a good head. And try to get it in the hole there. And you'll know when you get it in right, because it'll kick up. There you go, right there. All right, so we've got our balance back in. Now, one of the biggest things I hate about these movements is the long balance screw. It's so long and it doesn't sit in the hole right. So what I use is I just take my tweezers and I put it in the hole, and I use my offhand, which is not very good at things, and then I get it started, and then I screw it down. Now when you screw this down, you want to screw it down nice and easy. If anything happens, if the balance stops moving or anything happens while you're screwing that in, stop, wait, look at what's going on, and take it back out if you need to. Remember, it's not going to run super fast, especially if you only have a little bit of a wind in it to begin with. But there you go. It's perfect. Now, what I can tell you is if we go in here and we look at, you can tell the balance is in there, right? And you can tell it's ready to screw it down nice and tight. If you look in here and you see that, yes, in fact, the staff is in there spinning. And if we spin it over to the other side here, right, and we've got a staff obviously on this side that's out of focus. And look, you can see it spinning on that side. So when all that happens, then you know you put the staff in correctly. It's in both of the jewels. And now we can go back and we can tighten this down. Give it that little half a turn and you're good to go. And then the only thing left is to put the oscillating weight back on right here. And that's usually a pretty easy thing. And you just screw it back into place and it's done. Now you're good to go. That's how you do that.